In the 17th century, a German traveler named Adam Olearius arrived in Muscovy and suffered a genuine culture shock. No, not from the frost and not from the bears. He watched completely naked men and women running out of a bathhouse, a shared bathhouse, together, laughing, diving into the snow, and not being embarrassed about it in the slightest. The respectable European was shaken to his core. And now, the best part. At that very same time, a Russian priest at confession was asking his parishioners questions about their intimate lives, so detailed that today they would get you banned from any platform. Those questionnaires survived. Historians have studied them, and they overturn everything you thought you knew about chaste old Russia. So, what was sex really like among the Slavs, from pagan festivals to church prohibitions? Get ready, it will be unexpected, funny in places, and in other places, not funny at all. Let's go. Let's start with the times before Christianity. And here we have a witness, the chronicler Nestor himself, author of the Primary Chronicle. A monk, describing the customs of the Slavic tribes, made no attempt to hide his outrage. About the Radimichs, the Viatiches, and the Severians, he wrote, "They had no marriages as such. Instead, they had games between the villages. Young people from different settlements would gather at festivals with songs and dances, and there, and I quote, they seized wives for themselves. Whichever girl you'd made an arrangement with, that's the one you carried off." And the chronicler adds a detail. The men kept 2 or even 3 wives each. What were these games? First and foremost, Kupala Night, the most uninhibited festival of the Slavic calendar. The summer solstice, bonfires, flower wreaths, couples leaping over the flames. Girls set their wreaths afloat on the river, and the young men caught them. Catch a girl's wreath, and she's your partner. And then, the search for the blooming fern in the midnight forest. In pairs, naturally. The fern, as botanists will tell you, never blooms at all. But people searched for it every single year with tremendous enthusiasm. For centuries, the church thundered against these devilish games in its sermons. And the very fact that it had to thunder again and again is the best proof that the tradition refused to die. For a pagan Slav, there was nothing depraved in any of this. The fertility of the earth and the fertility of people were one and the same force. In spring, to guarantee a rich harvest, married couples in some regions would go out, directly onto the sown field, to show the earth how it's done, so to speak. The earth was called Mother, and the logic was ironclad. As the people do, so does the rye. And now for the spiciest paradox in Russian history. Do you know who the greatest womanizer of ancient Rus was, according to the Chronicle? The very man who later baptized Rus into Christianity, Prince Vladimir Sviatoslavich. Before his baptism, the Primary Chronicle reports the following about him, literally. Vladimir was overcome by lust for women, 5 lawful wives. And then the chronicler gives numbers that are hard to believe. 300 concubines at Vyshgorod, 300 at Belgorod, and 200 at Berestovo. 800. The chronicler directly compares him to the biblical Solomon, noting that Solomon too was a lover of women, but Vladimir outdid him. Historians, of course, argue that 800 is an epic exaggeration, a nice round number. But the fact itself, that a prince kept an enormous harem, surprised none of his contemporaries. It was status. Like a war band or a treasury, the more you had, the mightier the ruler. By the way, Vladimir himself was the son not of a princess, but of Malusha, a household steward, essentially a slave. And that did not stop him from taking the throne of Kiev. A familiar story if you've seen our video about the Vikings. And then Vladimir was baptized, and according to the Chronicle, he released his wives and became a model of piety. Along with him, all of Rus received Christianity. And that is when an entirely new era began for the intimate life of the Slavs. The church got down to business in earnest, and we have a unique source, those very confessional questionnaires and penitential books, the collections of church punishments. From them, we can see exactly what the church tried to forbid, which means exactly what people were actually doing. Let's start with the calendar. Marital intimacy was forbidden on Wednesdays and Fridays, the fasting days, on Sundays, on major feast days, during all 4 fasts, and that includes Great Lent, nearly 7 weeks long, plus the Apostles' Fast, the Dormition Fast, and the Nativity Fast. Historians have done the math. If a pious couple honestly observed every prohibition, they were left with fewer than half the days of the year. By some calculations, only about 50. Next, the how. Essentially, one position was permitted, the one we now call missionary. Everything else earned a penance. So many days of fasting, so many prostrations before the icons. And the compilers of these questionnaires demonstrated such expertise in the full range of alternatives that one can't help but wonder how they knew all of it. Love magic was punished separately. Love potions, charms whispered over food and drink. Judging by how often they're mentioned, love spells were a mass phenomenon. The women of old Rus fought for their family happiness with every tool available. But here is what matters. Compared to Western Europe, the Russian church was gentler in one respect. It did not consider marital intimacy sinful in itself. The sin was breaking the rules. Within marriage itself, yes, let the wife fear her husband, but the husband was also obliged, as the sources delicately put it, to comfort his wife. The marital duty was understood literally as a duty, in both directions. Now, about the thing that shocked Olearius, the bathhouse. For Rus, the banya was never just hygiene. It was a space on the border between worlds. People told fortunes there, gave birth there, lifted curses there. And married life began there too. By custom, newlyweds were sent to a well-heated bathhouse after the wedding, and in the morning, the bride's girlfriends came knocking to check on the results. Mixed bathing of men and women really did exist for centuries, and the church fought it just as unsuccessfully as it fought Kupala night. Foreign visitors wrote about it with horror and fascination in turn. The Russians themselves, meanwhile, saw nothing erotic in it at all. The bathhouse was simply everyday life. There's the paradox for you. A society where the priest scheduled the permissible days for marital intimacy calmly steamed together in one shared banya. And one more word on hygiene. Like the Vikings, the Slavs were almost obsessively clean by the standards of medieval Europe. A bath at least once a week, at a time when European physicians seriously believed hot water was hazardous to your health. But was there love? Not duty, not ritual, actual feelings. There was. And we have proof, written by the people of that time in their own hands. In Novgorod, archaeologists found a birch bark letter from the 11th century, a letter from a young woman to a man. She writes, "I have sent for you 3 times. What grievance do you hold against me that you did not come to me this week?" And then, proud and wounded, "If I were not dear to you, you would not have come to me in secret." 800 years have passed, and the hurt reads exactly like a modern text thread. He didn't show up. She wrote